Hello everyone, I am very excited to be making this video. It's a video that I've been meaning to make for weeks and weeks now, and finally got the opportunity and wanted to share this with you. All right, I'm very excited because this doesn't happen to me very often. In fact, it rarely happens to me, so I'm so glad that it occurred. It has to do with weeks ago now when I was hanging out at my record store. And as often happens, there comes collections that come in. People want to sell their records and make some money. So if they're in decent enough shape, my store owner will buy the collection. All right. So he bought a collection. A lot of it was vintage 1960s records. And as I often do when I'm there, I'll go through them, see if there's anything I can find that I want, usually Beatles oriented, but there are other groups as well. And there was a record album cover that caught my eye. And it really was a pretty cool looking cover. It was obviously, by the looks of it, a 1960s album. Had that kind of dreamy, trippy, kind of psychedelic vibe to it. And I said to myself, this is something that is really awakening my interest, and it's something that I may even want to hear to see what it is. So Corey, the other guy who works there, he was there, and I showed him the album cover, and I said, "What's this?" He said, "Oh, that's a great album. That's a great group." And I'd never heard of the album, never heard of the group. I'm saving it for a while. I'm going to build it up, and then I'll show it to you and present who it is, and maybe you can guess as I'm talking. And he said, "Yeah, let's put this right on." And Corey took it and put it on, and I was surprised in a way because he so often likes to play jazz music. He's very big on jazz, not exclusively or only jazz, but mostly jazz and kind of weird music. So to have him play something that was rock was kind of, I don't know, kind of a relief to me in a way because I'm not a big jazz guy. So he puts it on, and right away from the first track, I'm liking it. As a matter of fact, the first track, I start realizing I've heard this before. I don't know exactly where, but I've heard this on radio over the decades. I've heard this. It sounds familiar, the first track. The rest of it wasn't, but I heard the entire record, and I loved 90% of the record, and it was good enough to own. So, uncharacteristically, I said, okay, I got to have this. I really like this. The first side in particular, which I'll get to in a moment, the first side in particular, I really, really liked. And I liked the singing, the drumming, the musicianship all around. I said, this is amazing. It was hard rock. This is what I'm going to call it, a combination of hard rock, garage type band, precursor maybe, a psychedelic pop, maybe a little bluesy. There was a little bit of everything thrown in there, and I thought these guys really, really play strong and well, and I think I'm going to get all their albums, or at least, as we'll soon find out, the first three, which I'm told are the best. So let's get into it, okay? Who is this mystery group that I'm talking about from the 1960s? I don't know if you guessed it. I know I've done some live streams recently where I've already talked about it and showed the album. So some of you who watch my live streams know already uh, who the artist is. I'm talking about Love. That's the name of the artist, the rock band Love from the 1960s, and also the title of the album is Love. Now, not a very good title. I'm not thrilled with the name of the group. Hey, you can't have everything, right? I mean, after all, love is a very common expression when you want to look things up, when you want to find out. It's something that is very tricky because it's so common and not very creative or inventive. But anyway, I digress. Enough of that. Uh, Fantastic. I saw this cover and I said, this looks like something interesting. I want to hear this, and it did not disappoint. So I had to have it immediately, and I've heard the whole album, and I like it a lot, and enough to, like I say, pursue the rest of their albums. Now I know a lot of you out there, upon seeing this, are going to offer comments, and that's what I want you to do: offer comments, opinions, advice, recommendations, because I know I've already learned a lot about this group. For example, I know that their best album is supposed to be Forever Changes, which is supposed to be a classic album. I think that's their third album, so I know that's the one that everybody's going to be recommending to me. Okay, well, this is, let me read a little bit of my notes here that I took. This band here, Love, which is a good copy of the album too, I want to tell you. Let me just, before I talk about it, let me show you the record. This is in mono. It's a mono press in great shape on Elektra Records. And what I am told is that when these records come in, if the store is fortunate enough to get these records, they disappear right away. People just see them in the new arrivals pile. They don't even get a chance. They're very sought after, and you know they're not cheap. This was not overly expensive, but it wasn't cheap either, so I was happy to get it. Now let me tell you a little bit about it. It's a excuse me, hard, like I said, hard rock, garage, psychedelic type band formed in Los Angeles in 1965, and it was one of the first racially diverse of American bands. And Arthur Lee is pretty much the leader of this group. I'd never heard of Arthur Lee before. I have now. I've read a lot about him. Unfortunately, he did jail time later in his life and had some problems and has passed on. But what a talent as far as the rock goes. I mean, I just loved him, and from what I could see and hear on the album, most of what I liked from Arthur Lee, from Love in general, came from Arthur Lee, and you know, he writes a lot of the stuff, if not all of it. But I know there are some cover versions too. Like, for example, there's a cover version of the Hendrix song, you know, "Hey Joe," the one everybody knows. "Hey Joe," that was one of the low points, the rare low points of this record for me. I wasn't really crazy about the cover of "Hey Joe," "Hey Joe" here. I've heard people do it better, Hendrix, Cher. I like them a lot better than this version here. But side one, the first one, two, three, four, like 7 songs on side one. Great side, great album side one. Side two, I was hoping, when I flipped the album over, I said, oh man, I really hope this really follows through. I hope this is a complete solid album. And I was a little let down by some of the tracks on side two, but yeah, it still worked out for me. It says Arthur Lee is the lead vocal on all selections except for "Hey Joe" and "Softly to Me." Yeah, those two I wasn't as wild about, but no, side one was pretty strong. But later on, when you got into more ballady type things, I wasn't as wild as the ballady type songs, if you will. But yeah, I was just taken aback by this, and I'm told that their first 3 albums, those are the ones to get. They went on and on for a number of years, apparently, and in various incarnations, different people would come in and go, and I think Arthur Lee was always at the front, from what I understand. But you know, this album first released in 1966. And the song "My Little Red Book," the first track, that's the one that I'd heard. It sounded familiar to me, "My Little Red Book," as soon as I put the stylus on the you know, record. So yeah, now it's another side of this that's pretty interesting, to me anyway. I picked up the CD of this not too long after, a few days after, or maybe 3 days after. I looked for the CD and I found it, and here's the CD. Okay, now what's interesting about this is, you know, I'm a fan of CDs. You know, I mean, I like CDs and I think they sound fantastic. But you want to know something interesting? This CD is in stereo, and after hearing the very highly charged, intense rock and roll album of this vinyl copy, I was disappointed with the CD. This is in mono. It sounds all together, all full, all in your face, all grungy and hard. I love the sound of that record. When I played this, not so much. Had I heard this first, I don't think I would have been as impressed, to tell you the truth. And that's interesting because, you know, I like CD, as I say, but it was too clean, too digital. Did not like the CD as much as the record. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting to me. Anyway, just a little tidbit. So yeah, I discovered something new. As I say, folks, you know, when I hear something that I've never heard before, if I like it, I'll come out and say it, and I'll come out and buy it, and maybe, and I'll like it. And it's happened with a lot of artists, old and new. But people say, well, then why don't you listen to more stuff? It's just a time factor. Whatever happens to come my way, whatever is like something that just happened by good fortune to come into, I'll gladly give it a shot. So thank you all. I look forward to your comments. Take care.